An audit committee meeting to order. Welcome all. It's great to have a full complement today. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes from February 26th? Any questions, emendations? Okay, then moving on to agenda item number 3, landlord license. That completes your update of the landlord licensing compliance review?
Yeah, I thought about presenting some preliminary numbers, but I am trying to reconcile the data, and I just would feel better about it to present the data after it's already been reconciled, rather than putting something out there and then coming back with new numbers.
Okay.
So have patience with me.
Is there anything this committee can do to help you? Give assistance?
Sure.
Apart from that. Okay. Thank you, Auditor Sims. Moving on to agenda item number 4, other matters. Does anyone have other matters?
Oh, I have an inquiry. I know that Councilman Coughlin put out another request for volunteers for an accountant. Is there any other ways that we can try to get someone in?
For CPA?
For CPA, we're having such difficulty. Are there any other levers we can pull to try to get folks to take this on?
Christine is finishing compiling the expanded geographic area for sending out the letter asking people if they would like to volunteer. Right now, we're just a couple weeks before the April 15 deadline that CPAs dread. And so if we sent something out right now, or really even before May, it would probably end up in the trash can because they're just too busy right now. So we're thinking, have it ready to go. And then as soon as, I don't know, the middle of May maybe might be a good time to send it.
Well,
Because they're not all on vacation then.
Well, that's why I'm saying, maybe the middle of May, but
Yeah.
after April 15th, a lot of them have tickets to Hawaii and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we had a CPA, he was never available from about the middle of February or early March through nowish. So yeah, quite well taken. I would wonder if it's worth going back to the well on a couple of possibilities too, like the college or other colleges in the area, like this branch up in Paulsbo, or is it Old Dominion that has a campus on the base?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that might be a possibility. I don't
Chapman
know.
is also out there.
Well, I asked Councilor Coughlin, because he goes to the Kitsap Economic Development Association and other groups that number CPAs among their members. So I asked him if he would mention, as he's moving around the city, that we need a CPA. I hadn't realized that he had put out a blast announcement, because Auditor Sims has educated me about, really, from the beginning of March until the beginning of May. Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
What is the threshold? What is the minimum requirement to volunteer to be a CPA for the audit committee?
Well, you have to be a CPA.
Yeah, the tough one is being a CPA. I mean, and that's why the college is, it's not the best ground to be looking on.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Because most of them have already completed college. I
Yeah.
mean, might be working on a master's, but I don't know that OC has a master's program.
They
And-
have in some fields, but probably not in accounting. But Chapman or Old Dominion on the base they offer all kinds of master's programs. So those might be worthy of a snoop. I don't know.
And does it have to be a volunteer position? Could it be stipend to entice someone to give of their time?
We barely have enough money to pay Jenny.
True
I
story.
think that council has chatted about that before. I don't know the depth of the conversation, but I think that perhaps Eric was one that had suggested it. I'm not sure, but for some reason I'm thinking that if there was a stipend. But currently it's not a paid position whatsoever.
It's not like it takes a ton of time either.
Yeah, when Christine reissues the announcement, she's planning to reissue it to all the population, not just the new people that are in Gig Harbor and
Right.
the
Cool.
expanded area. So she's going to go for the whole thing again.
Okay, good.
Nobody on any committee or commission is paid.
Yeah, I think so.
Except
Except the auditor, but she's an employee. That's a city position, not just a committee position.
right.
Yeah,
Like our planner.
more than an hour a month.
Yes, much more.
Although if we can get it to 15 minutes today, I think we'll really have to be, drawing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, are there any other matters?
I can go again.
Yeah.
So I have some folks in the community, and they're asking me about racial equity in regards to auditing the city, whether it's contracts, employment, looking at the numbers and the percentages, and also working with the largest employers in the city. Does the audit committee do that? Is that their business? If not, who does? And has it been done in the past? Where should I direct them?
Over to you, Auditor Sims.
Well, I do what you guys say, but I believe that Human Resources has looked at some of those statistics fairly recently, maybe a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I do remember seeing some statistics come out. I thought it was our HR department that looked at that, like what the norm is. I forget what their baseline was, and then they compared it to the city employee statistics. I'm not sure I followed you about, were you talking about other employers in Bremerton?
So working with PSNS is our largest employer. So do we help to ensure or look and check to see if they are hiring? You have folks that are in supervisory positions and not in lower positions, things like that.
Also, the people that we do contracts with?
either contracts with, or, you know, they swing a mighty big stick here in the city of Bremerton. So whether we're contracting with them or not, they have a big impact on how Bremerton goes. And so those were the inquiries that have been kind of coming into me the last couple months.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything, council members may know.
Our ability to control the Department of Defense is very limited indeed. I mean, it's non-existent.
Yeah.
So
Eric, Eric, doesn't the city have, equity, DEI, basically goals and, conditions for a lot of our contracts? Honestly, yes, I thought they did. Now, whether those goals are met, I don't know. That's, not always feasible, I think. But
Talked to Melinda Monroe about this a lot because for a long time I kept saying, I'm going to understand contracts, so I kept throwing myself at it. And it's pretty decent. Their requirements for reaching out to minority and women-owned business are fairly pretty good, I think. And they apply also to subcontractors. So the criteria for contracts for contracting with the city of Bremerton, that would be, you could just email Melinda Monroe and she would be happy to send you those. Is that answering?
yeah, I think so. So it's probably just an email, not like a FOIA request or something, but HR, like Jenny was saying, would be the direction to go in.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because how else would the public find out what the criteria are?
Well, that's why I'm inquiring, because they don't know and they're wondering. So
What HR, I think, knows in terms of the people that we employ, that the city employs. I don't know that they would have the answers on contracts. That would be more Melinda.
Okay.
She does that.
If you look at the NSRC and the criteria for getting on that has some of them. But yeah, you should be able to simply get it by emailing Melinda, and if you can't, email me.
Okay.
Eric, I'm sure you have a wealth of history. But I laugh.
So I'm kind of struggling with coming up with a sound answer to Marlon's question and to the follow-up question. I know there are programs available, women and minority-owned business specifics, that you can go off the roster, like you mentioned, Hannah. But I don't believe we have a condition that says that this contract has to be fulfilled by off that roster or anything to that effect.
Gotcha.
So that's an interesting question. I don't think the city is under that guidance right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Like for commerce, they have for rental assistance, buying for organizations are earmarked 10% of the contract to ensure that those populations are being served.
I'm not aware of that, but again, yeah, I agree. That's a Melinda Monroe question.
Yeah, I think I worked for an agency once where they scored the contractors, the people that were bidding. Let's say they were going 100 points available. You could get an extra 10 or 15 points just for being a minority-owned business. So, but I don't know if we have something like that with the city.
Melinda would know.
Well, thank you.
Keep saying that.
No, that's good information. I have an answer and a direction that I can send people.
Okay. Are you specifically asking about some? Are you asking about some specific?
No.
Okay.
No, the questions that come in are pretty general, so I just try to tie them up as good as I can, because they're usually in passing or in another Zoom meeting or whatever you have.
Okay. Hang on one second. Okay. Because I have two small other matters. All right, so I passed on your questions from the last meeting, and here is what I get from DCD. Janet Lunsford has never been a contractor for code enforcement. All of the work that she has performed for the city has been done as an employee, and she is no longer on the payroll. So that was one. And then there was a question raised about short-term rentals like Airbnb. Do they remit taxes? Yeah, they're required to be licensed with the state as well as the city. They pay sales tax, lodging tax, and state and city B&O tax. Or they, none of them is so far large enough to pay. Yikes. A movie is playing? Hang on, sorry. Something is odd with my computer. I'm back. Because we have like you don't pay any B&O tax up to about $1 million. So none of them are large enough to qualify for that. So there's questions that came up, and that's the answers that I have for you. Okay.
Thank you, Anna.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. That's good to know.
So I guess the bigger question though is, are they even in compliance? How do we even know how many there are? And it's kind of like the landlord licensing thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, what would they need to be in compliance with? Because the $1 million threshold, I don't think any of them.
No, that's just a B&O tax. So the other thing would be
Licensing.
Anna, didn't you just indicate they have to pay hotel motel tax and sales tax and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Sales tax, lodging tax, and be licensed.
Yeah.
Right. So it all stems from them being licensed. How do we know whether or not they're unlicensed Airbnb people?
Well, I think these are state taxes, though, which would be out of our jurisdiction. I mean, maybe you just want to talk about it generally speaking, but we would have no authority over that.
I thought the licensing was the city though, wasn't it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And the lodging tax, that's us.
I thought that's collected by the state.
Lodging and sales tax comes back to us in a complicated formula that I'm going to leave to professional accountants.
Yeah, I think it's under the jurisdiction of the state, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's so not my field of expertise.
Well, it's another piece of the landlord compliance puzzle if we wanted to add that to the scope. To do some, it's like, no.
Well, I don't think it's has to do with the landlord license because they're not required to have a landlord license.
Okay.
They have other things they pay. They don't pay the landlord license. That would be.
Got it. Okay.
I think she said that they have a business license they have to get on.
I don't know. I'm pulling it up again.
Short term.
They're required to be licensed with the state as well as the city. They pay sales tax, lodging tax, and the state and city B&O tax. Or they're defined under RCW 64.37010. And that's everything that I know.
So what's the license that they have to have with the city? What does that refer to? Do you know? We're way off topic, but I'm just curious. Is it just a business license?
Business license.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
the lodging-
really outside the scope of the landlord license. It's totally
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. It's a lodging use that is not a hotel or motel or bed and breakfast, in which is dwelling unit, portion thereof, yada yada. Okay. Did that answer the question? I mean, in general, yes, it would be great to have an army of monitors monitoring everything the city does. Oh, with oversight our watchword, and that would cost millions, which, as far as I know, we don't have. So there may be some unlicensed Airbnb people. Do you have any ideas, Eric?
Well, I don't think it would be that difficult a task. So who has the license might be in there because they're taxpayers may be a sensitive thing, but someone in finance department should certainly be able to access through the Department of Revenue all the people that have state business license that are domiciled in Bremerton, and then we could simply look at that list and match it up to see if they have a city business license. I don't think that'd be that tough a task.
Okay, no, I was talking about millions in terms of all the things that it would be great to have monitored.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
I don't know about materiality, and maybe they're already doing that.
Okay, so I'm going to send an email to finance, find all of the state licenses, review. Match
Yeah, that would be a great question. So, but I'm not sure if it goes to finance or if it goes to Andrea, because remember, finance jettisoned some of that program off to DCD.
True.
I'm confused on which one is which, but maybe to both, and just.
Okay.
I'm afraid you're going to get an answer, but we don't have the resources. Quite frankly, I'm a little tired of that answer. I really am. So
I would put good money on it, but nonetheless, I will do it.
That's worth a shot. Because, too many short-term rentals can really hurt local housing stock.
oh, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. And I thought I had found a foolproof method to locate them, based on if they have one of those code things under their doorknob where you have to punch in a code.
Yeah, no.
The more I looked around, then I went, wow, this is like a $65 item. Anybody could have it. And it's pretty, and I see it on places that I know are owner occupied. So anyhow. Okay, so I will email finance and DCD, ask about this. I'm not going to make Jennifer's offer that if they say, absolutely, we have plenty of resources for that, I will not be buying pizza for the audit committee. I will thank you for bringing that up again. And thank you, Eric, that makes sense. So find all state licenses, all businesses in the city with state licenses, review them, match them against city licenses. That's right?
Yeah, the question is, do they do that? And they must get a list. They have to, I would think.
Okay. Salud.
Okay, I think that the challenge is not so much the businesses that reside in Bremerton. I think that the challenge is the contractors that come from outside of Bremerton and say, just for example, do subcontractor work over at the base or shipyard. I think the city thinks that's where the loss of tax revenue could be.
Interesting, yeah.
It's also, I've run across a number of houses that are Airbnb for traveling nurses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Contractors at the shipyard are using Airbnb. I'm confused.
No, it has nothing to do with Airbnb. This is more the B&O tax.
Ah,
It's not that they think it is, but that would be the challenge in approaching it the way that we were just talking about, looking at the contractors that are within the city.
Okay.
Right, so here's another question then. I think I saw that on the notes earlier this year, Anna. I could have sworn, and this is an Andrea question, I could have sworn the council signed an agreement to allow some audit, some outside firm to do a B&O tax audit of what Jenny just described. And they would recover on a commission basis. I don't know if that jogs anybody's memory, but I could have sworn we did that. Or there was talk of that.
I recall there being some conversation. I never hear what council talks about directly, but I hear through the grapevine. And I think that was under a former finance director, Dwayne. And I don't know what happened to it, but it was put aside. And I don't know why. I mean, it wasn't on my plate, but I heard that it was looked at and they dug into it a little bit and then it was backburnered, and I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, I want to say it was in the last few years, but I could be wrong. In any case, when I did see the proposal, whatever they recovered, they were entitled to a large portion of the recovery, but the argument was, doesn't cost the city anything, they don't find anything. So, maybe it would be interesting to find out what the status of that was. Or ask them.
Did they call them bounty hunters?
Yeah, I won't call them. So it'd be a outside B&O tax audit. If there was a contract ever signed with the city for an outside business and occupation tax audit.
I think Mike Riley's a good person.
Yeah.
Okay.
He remembers the history of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Almost a half an hour.
Yeah. Woohoo. Thank you all. I really appreciate this. All right. So I will be making the next audit committee chair report to city council 2 days from now. Basically, my report will be the landlord licensing compliance review is continuing. Okay. Our next meeting will be April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, good.
Sorry?
Just joking. Thank goodness it's in 2024.
I'm just reading off the script.
I know you are.
Okay. Having made it almost all the way to 5:30, I congratulate you, Vice President Daniel, Christine Grenier, Marlon Cameron, Eric Younger, Jenny Sims, and I therefore declare this meeting adjourned. Womp. Womp. Have a good one. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.